Earlier this year, I actually already spoke about my EDC that I sort of go to for my slower days and more intentional days where I'm sort of less busy. But what about, the busier days that I do have when, I'm filming something, if I'm out and about, if I'm going into the office, or if I'm just working on a larger project. I sort of want to talk about the items that bring with me on those busier days. In a couple weeks, I'm heading to the Google event in downtown Toronto, and they're going to be launching their new Pixel 10 device, which I'm stoked to check out. So this will be everything in my tech bag for that day, just as an example. Now, on my basic or more slower days, I might typically only carry something like a dumb phone and my iPad mini in a sling pouch. And that's pretty much it, amongst some other basic things. But on the busier days and stuff, I sort of want to talk about, something like my computers that I'll take with me. And it's going to be a mix of two things, really. And it sort of depends on the project I'm working on for the day. The first thing is going to be the M4 MacBook Air. Now, for myself, I did end up going with the base model M4 MacBook Air, mainly because I already have a Mac Studio that I use when I'm down here in my, basement setup, where I get most of my project work done in its entirety. But when I am out and about, if I do need to get some project work done, the M4 MacBook Air is kind of absurd, even at the base model configuration, which is the one I have. Now, the main downside with that is it only comes with 256 gigs of storage. I'm sure a lot of people already know that that's not a lot of space. So I actually just use an SSD enclosure where I can, swap my project from my Mac Studio to my M4 MacBook Air. And even at the base configuration, it still mostly shreds through majority of my projects. I think the M4 MacBook Air might very well be one of the best deals when it comes down to computing and tech in general, just because of that machine is easily, I'm talking easily, that machine's like a 6-year machine, 7-year machine. So as long as, the battery's still going and you can make do with whatever storage configuration you choose, the M4 MacBook Air is an absurd system. Now, I know lots of creators, they hop onto the M4 MacBook Pro or whatever the Pro lineup is, but this is the first time this year with the M4 Air release, with the base model being 16 gigs and all that at the lowest in terms of RAM. I'm seeing a lot more creators rock the M4 Air this time around, and it goes to show just how powerful that system is, which is why it makes it into my bag for the heavier days. Now, for the middle of the pack sort of day where I'm not carrying my MacBook Air or my iPad mini, my M4 iPad Pro I've sort of fallen in love with again, where previously it sort of took a bit of a back burner just because it didn't do all too much more comparatively to my iPad mini, and it sort of did less than my MacBook Air. But I can say with iPadOS 26, with the window management and stuff, the 11-inch iPad Pro, which is one I have at least, is a lot more functional than it previously was. In my case, at least, it does come more so down to the multitasking, being able to have multiple windows open all at once. And it is more portable than even the MacBook Air, yet still being incredibly powerful as it is. I've mentioned it previously in the past that I typically use an iPad to edit all my short form content. Not that I do much short form content, but my iPad is typically the go-to for that just because it's small, portable, powerful as hell, and it's an incredible piece of tech. Although it kind of doubles up in terms of, a laptop form factor with the Magic Keyboard, the functionality with the Magic Keyboard is excellent, especially with the M4 iPad Pro. I really dig this one. Now, separately from that, during my weekdays, while my carry might not be as creator-centric, I switch gears every day, daily, between working my 9-to-5 job as an accountant, as well as being a creator. And recently I did get something called the Mobvoi TicNote, which actually comes from today's video sponsor. The Mobvoi TicNote is an insanely tiny, almost credit card size voice recorder that does have a good set of AI features. It is actually the world's first agentic AI note taker. So it does give you a good chunk more features that you can actually use with your recordings, whether that's, transcription. You can do deep research through ChatGPT using it. It's actually really easy to use as well. With one tap, you can capture, your meetings, your quick thoughts, client calls if you need to, and you can choose to transcribe those recordings in up to like 100 languages or so. You can use Shadow AI to deep dive into summaries, mind maps, and just sort of highlight those key moments. So yeah, if you're somebody like myself juggling multiple things, whether you're a creator, entrepreneur, somebody who's working your day job like me, this thing has you covered, which is pretty awesome. If you do want to check out the Mobvoi TicNote, I will have a link down below, and thank you to Mobvoi for sponsoring this portion of today's video. Now, naturally, apart from that, you're going to be carrying a phone with you on the go, and in my tech bag, I typically will have, it's going to be different actually, because I'm one of those weirdos that doesn't particularly have an allegiance to an operating system or a type of phone. I like swapping phones depending on what my mood is, right? If I want to focus more on digital minimalism for the week or the month, I'll use a dumb phone. If I want to, be more connected, I'm going to use my iPhone 13 mini. Now, coming off my review of the Nothing Phone 3, that device was honestly incredible in terms of how capable it is. But I'm one of those weirdos that doesn't really have an OS allegiance. I don't care if it's iOS. I don't care if it's Android. Just give me a dope ass phone and I might use the hell out of it. But with that, I sort of swap my devices every 3 to 4 weeks, or I might hold on to something for an extended period of time. But right now I am using the Light Phone 3. Now, since I typically do ping pong between dumb phones and smartphones, I did recently, hack my Light Phone 3 to add some more modern features and creature comforts that a smartphone would give me, which, call it cheating if you want to. Now, to say I hacked this device isn't really the proper word because, just for context, this is a minimalist device. It just has a couple apps on the home screen and that's it. There's no browser, there's no emails, there's no social media and stuff. But then you also don't have certain things like, WhatsApp, a lot of people love, Spotify, any sort of ride share services. They're not available on here. So while hacking this isn't the right term, I did end up getting some of those apps onto this device because it does technically run on Android, which is mostly inaccessible. That said, I do use the operating system as it is out of box, and I simply mapped a couple specific applications to some key configurations. For myself, I just hold my home key and that will open up my Apple Music because as much as I love, curating my library and downloading the songs to my phone, Apple Music is just one of those things that I absolutely love on the day-to-day. So I have it on there. I'm a huge reader as of the last year because of people in the comment section got me reading Red Rising. And that series legitimately made me a reader. So I read a ton on this device because of the matte OLED screen. It kind of looks like an e-reader and it's a good form factor for myself, and I can turn pages with my volume up and down, and I ended up mapping my e-reader to my crown wheel here. And separately from that, of course, for the times I am stuck in traffic or if I'm at the office, I even go as far as listening to my audiobooks now with Audible because that's how deep into, reading I've gone into, if audiobooks count as reading, whatever. But those are the main apps I've bound to this. Now, I did also double tap map my crown wheel to give me 3 additional apps on its own minimalist page, one of which is MyFitnessPal for tracking calories and macros and all that. I have a daycare app because I have 2 young kids in school. Naturally, I have to be able to connect to their application. And Viber, my group chat uses Viber because they're nerds and they don't want to use WhatsApp, even though it's better in every single way. But yeah, despite my dumb phone being dumb out of box, those are just a couple apps I added to it. And I really just appreciate my Light Phone 3 right now, at least, because I don't know, as much as I might sound, like a pretentious loser or whatever, I like being more, intentional with my screen time and being more present with whatever I'm doing. So that's why the Light Phone 3 is with me on the day-to-day. Now, separately from that, when it does come down to those smaller things, I don't really want tumbling around my bag. I do have a leather tech dop. So just like you might, pack some toiletries into a bag when you're traveling, this is pretty much that, but just for tech. So I have some cables, my wireless lav mic I typically keep in there. I'll talk about this one in a bit, but it all goes into that little leather pouch inside my bag, so it's not sort of kicking about. And for myself, it's kind of like a weird minimalist thing where everything has its place and everything is in its place. So whenever I take something out, it goes back into the same spot, just so, I'm not losing it. So in there, I'll have some power banks, some cables, spare SD card, and whatever knickknacks I might need on the go, but in one little pouch, so I really appreciate that. And I say the word minimalist, I want to clarify, I'm a bit of a wannabe minimalist, where I want to have less, but yet I own way too much crap. It's a work in progress, hence the name MinimalisTech. I don't know how you can have a bunch of tech and be a minimalist at the same time. Trust me, I'm working on it. On to the next session, and it's probably going to be one of my favorites here, and talking about the cameras that I currently use. And just like, my MacBook Air and my iPad, I sort of have 2 that I gravitate towards. My main camera that I shoot all my YouTube videos on is my Fujifilm X-H2S. And this is my current workhorse that I film everything with pretty much. Now, I used to shoot Sony up until January of this year because I took my X106 with me to a family vacation in Disney World. And that's the most I used this camera in one length of time. And having used it on that vacation, I ended up just simply falling in love with the colors, the image quality, the photos, everything about the Fuji system. I fell in love with it. And when I came back, I ended up picking up the X-H2S. There's a couple features that it sort of has over something like my Sony FX30 It has better options for internal recordings. I don't have to, hook it up to an external monitor, external recorders. It can just do it to an SD card. Whereas for some reason my FX30 doesn't do that. It also has something like OpenGate, which is awesome when it comes down to, reformatting any of my content that I'm filming. And overall, it's just an excellent camera. I absolutely love the film simulations, the video quality. Now, for the days where I'm not working on anything absolutely massive, or, I'm just sort of, I don't know, having fun or using a camera for a dad cam, I talk about that a lot, is my Fujifilm X100VI. This is still a hype camera online, and I actually didn't know they released the X100VI. I ended up going searching for the X100V on Facebook Marketplace, but found this. I love this camera, and I bought it specifically for video, which is actually mostly the opposite of what a lot of people buy this camera for. People, got hyped up about the film sims and all that, which is great, mind you. I love the film simulations on this camera as well. But I actually bought it for video, specifically because of how compact it is. Even today, Fujifilm has still released some additional cameras, but nothing still comes close to the size and weight of this. This thing has a built-in ND filter. It can film in 4K. It has all the bells and whistles I'd want for a video camera, including in-body image stabilization, and it just does a damn good job. Now, I know the lens is fixed. That's actually something I love about it because it takes a lot of the guesswork out. I don't have to think about how to frame stuff. I just have to use what I use and get on with it, pretty much the best way to put it. I'm actually going to have a dedicated review on the X100VI soon, and those are the two cameras I currently use the most. So on my longer days, of course, naturally, you might need to top up the batteries and stuff, whether that's my iPad, my camera, even my phone. This battery lasts forever, but if I have to top it up, I actually carry two battery banks with me. They're actually MagSafe, but I don't use the MagSafe features. I actually just plug them in with a Type-C cable. Mind you, I'm kind of blown away how thin these have gotten over time. I'm used to battery banks being so fat and huge. They've really thinned up over the last couple of years. But my smaller battery pack is from Torres, and that one is a 5,000 milliamp hour battery. And then my second one is a 10,000 milliamp hour battery pack from Charge, and that one even has a fan in it to keep it cool while charging. And again, those do a great job. They're not the most exciting pieces of tech, but it's one of those things you need if you're having a super long day on the go. If you're working on a project, you got to top up your batteries and charging to get the job done. When it comes down to audio, in my last video, I spoke about the Nothing headphone ones, and these are, I think, my favorite headphones of all time. Love these. They sound incredible, but I don't take them with me in my bag because they're just too damn big. As much as this is my heavier carry compared to, my minimalist or my slower day EDC, I can't bring myself to bring massive headphones with me into my bag. So I go back to my old faithful AirPod Pro ones. I think there's the AirPod Pro ones. If I lost these today, I'd be at the Apple store replacing them the same day because of how much I use these. These ones are old, they're decrepit, their battery barely lasts long, but they still sound great. The active noise cancellation is absolutely incredible. And unlike a lot of earbuds that I've previously used, I don't get like a weird pressure in the ear when I use these. So I really love the AirPod Pros, and I can see why AirPods alone, if it were a company, would be in the S&P 500. I think that's false. I don't know if that's true. My source is random losers on Reddit. But yeah, AirPod Pro 2s are excellent. Now for the times I do want to take a bit of a break, there are two more things I love taking with me. The first thing is going to be my Nintendo Switch. I'm an avid gamer, so I love gaming on the go. I'm not typically somebody who uses handhelds, really. I don't have a Windows handheld or anything, but the Nintendo Switch, I haven't reviewed it yet, but I've had it since day one. And the reason I haven't reviewed it yet is because when it first hit, I actually didn't like it. I almost had buyer's remorse. I wanted to return it. Best Buy wouldn't let me because it's such a hot item. But then I fell in love with it, and I really love that system now, and I can't wait to sort of review that in my own crappy way. But for the titles, it's the simplicity and the actual performance of the system, I actually love it. I'm realizing now, while the Switch doesn't focus on, graphics fidelity and frames per second as much as those have improved from the last generation of Switch, this system really focuses on fun, and I love the new Mario Kart. And of course, Cyberpunk 2077 is an incredible way to showcase the power of that system, and I really dig it. I don't have a case for that, so I sort of just slip it right into my camera bag. And for now, that's how I'm going to travel around with this. If anybody has a Switch 2 case recommendation, please let me know. And second to that, I've talked about this thing so many times, is my retro handheld, which is the Miu Mini Plus. This is just a tiny, small, nostalgic piece of fun hardware, and I really, really dig it because I can throw down my Pokemon games, my Harry Potter games, and I've had this thing for like 2 or 3 years at this point, and I never knew there was a second page that had PlayStation 1 games on here. So recently I've been playing Twisted Metal and Tenchu. Dragon Ball GT Final Bout, absolute incredible games on the PS1. I've used this thing so much, the triggers are loose on the back end. So I think it's actually coming to the point, unfortunately, that I have to replace it or find a way to repair those triggers, which probably isn't going to happen. But I absolutely love this retro handheld. My Miu Mini Plus is in a great way to get, a couple minutes of fun in if I'm on the run. Now, as for the rest of the things that are actual, creator oriented, I just have a couple things. My microphone here is the Hollyland Lark M2s or something. This is actually the mic I'm using right now for this video. It's just compact. I use this for every single video. I can be close to the camera, far from the camera, and it just sounds good. It's reliable. I didn't really do too much research on it. I just bought it and it does a good job. The second thing is my travel tripod from Ulanzi, which is called, I think, the Mantis tripod. It hooks onto doors and stuff. Pretty much if you've ever seen me film any content in public, this is likely the tripod I use. It flips out, it's compact, you can hold it in your hand, and it's an all-around good tripod. Lastly, you've probably seen a ton of people using this, and it's gonna be the Moft Invisible Snap Tripod Stand. I think that's what it's called. It just snaps on with MagSafe, and honestly, it's fantastic for propping up your phone. This phone doesn't even have MagSafe, and I put a ring on here just so I can use that tripod stand for when I'm reading. Or otherwise, it actually also acts as a wallet. It can hold like 1 or 2 cards or something. Absolutely love that, and a ton of people use it. And there's a good reason why, because it's useful. Obviously, if you're gonna pair it with an iPhone or something, you'll get more use out of the camera features having that tripod, but it is one of my go-tos. As for my actual bag itself, I am using this bag from Brevity. I don't know what it's called. It might just be called the Brevity bag. I'll link it below, but it's just a good all-around bag. It's small, it's compact. The amount of pockets that this thing has for the size that it is absolutely bonkers. It's a bit of a hybrid. Like, I use this thing when I go to the office every day, and it holds my laptops, my tablets, everything that I mentioned in this video. And it has these inserts for my camera gear, which I really appreciate. It has things on the bottom for a tripod. Absolutely excellent bag. Bags are kind of boring, I know, but similar to my AirPods, if this bag was busted or lost for any reason, I'd be gone buying another one the same day if I could. And naturally, it's comfortable, it's built well, and does everything I need it to do. And yes, there is an AirTag in it. Always have an AirTag in your bag. But yeah, that pretty much rounds out my actual tech bag. In regards to my actual everyday carry for the things in my pocket, again, my phone, this will swap every 3 or 4 weeks, or I might hold on to it for a month or two. Right now, Light Phone 3. My watch I'm using is my Apple Watch Series 9. Excellent watch. My wallet, I'm using this little card holder from Grove Made. It just holds a couple cards, maybe a couple bills, and it's minimal, it's leather, it's a hard shell, and I just really like the natural materials. And similarly, I am using a Grove Made keychain. It's just a keychain. I'm looking forward to maybe testing out one of those Orbit keys, the ones that folds up, because I don't really like my loose keys. But that's pretty much it. If you guys do have any questions, please let me know down in the comment section. Again, everything in this video will be linked down below if you do want to check it out. Appreciate you guys watching till the end. Till next time.